Hi, everybody. I'm Nitika Chopra here for another episode of Truth Talks. And I'm really looking forward to this conversation because I am going to be talking to you about something that I've really had to learn over a very long time, over my lifetime. I am talking to you today about self-love, but not in the way that I've talked about it before, and also not in the way that you probably have seen other people talk about it. I think, I started talking about self-love probably back in 2012, 2010, actually, when I started my first company, Bella Life. And I was talking about it in a very specific way. I actually found for many years talking about self-love was a bit of a push pull. I wanted to be out there talking about it. I wanted to share about it all the time. And then I tried to talk about it in ways that felt more tangible. But I then saw that it wasn't always landing. I don't think other people were necessarily saying that to me or reflecting that back to me, but I knew how hard my journey towards self love was. I knew how much how challenging it was, how tender and at times really devastating and confronting, and all of these pretty intense things that were on my self love journey. But we weren't really talking about that so much. And even today, when I look around and I think about, who are the leaders in the conversation around self love, I'm not saying no one is talking about the parts that are hard and tender, but I do think that we don't talk about it as much as it's needed. I think that is probably the biggest part of the self-love journey is just how much work there is to do. And the part that often gets focused on is the like, ta-da at the end. Now look at me, I'm glowing because I did this face mask, or I drank this green juice, or I took this long bath. And, that's really gotten me to this place of self love. And I'm not saying that none of those things matter. I mean, look at my apartment. I'm like surrounding myself with beautiful things. I love to wear jewelry. I love to play with makeup. I love to play with hair. I mean, just all of it, right? I find that part of life, beauty and art and, connections with people, decor, all these kinds of things. I find them all very life enhancing, and they're a huge part of my creativity as well. So I never want to say that, that stuff doesn't matter or it's not important, or even that it's not as valid as some of the things I'm going to be talking about today, because I'd be lying if I said that to you. I would feel like my life had a lot less light in it if I didn't allow myself to engage with and explore these beautiful, beautiful parts of life as well. But the part that we don't talk about enough, and what I really wanted to talk to you about today, is the work that comes with a true self love journey. I remember at the beginning of my self love journey, I knew that I was coming from a real place of lack and unworthiness. A lot of it was because of everything I had been through with my health, lots of relationship challenges I had been through, getting married and divorced at a really young age, and even just familial relationship challenges I had been through, because I was always very different than my family. As much as they are my favorite people and I'm very close to, especially my parents, we did not understand each other on a very deep level for most of my life because we're so different. So that caused a lot of challenge within me as well. And so I knew I needed to go forward towards more self love. I knew I needed to read all the books, and I needed to go to the courses, and I needed to try the different meditations and all the things. And it really helped. It absolutely did. But I think what I want to focus on today is this part of it that was a bit more surprising to me on my self love journey. And that is when we start to align our lives to have the kind of integrity that shows us how much we love ourselves. And what I mean by that is, let's start with the word integrity. I learned this many years ago at my first life coaching course, but a lot of spiritual teachers will tell you that the true definition of integrity is when your thoughts, your actions, and your words are in alignment. So that can mean the smallest things, like when you text someone and you were thinking about them and you were having a negative thought about them, but you text them something and you're pretending like you don't have that negative thought, or you're pretending like, oh, you love them and you're so excited to chat with them. This is just like a really small thing, right? Or it can be as big as you have an amazing career opportunity, but you know in your mind and you know your truth that it's like not the right opportunity for you, but you bypass it and you do it anyway. So it can run the gamut, and maybe take a moment and think about, are there any places in your life where you feel like you're not in complete integrity? And mind you, this is not to berate yourself. This is actually an opportunity. If you go in your life and you notice that you're not in integrity, and you see one area, 5 areas, doesn't matter how many areas that you might have, it's an opportunity for you to know there's room for growth. And to me, given like the kind of person that I am, when I know that there's room for growth, I know that it's going to be challenging typically initially, because I'll probably have to work through some stuff to get to the other side of it. But I also know there's room for more joy. There's room for more abundance. There's room for more love. There's room for a lot more things to celebrate. And currently, I'm choosing something that is not that. So I want you to think about that and be honest with yourself. Maybe after you watch this, you can even spend some time writing down, what are the ways that my thoughts, my words, and my actions are not aligned in my life? And really get honest with that. You don't even do anything about it yet. Just get honest about it, right? We're just talking about getting to the truth. So get honest with yourself about that. And then the other thing I want you to think about, and what I was really present to in thinking about wanting to talk to you all today, is I noticed that I loved myself, or I had gotten to a different place on my self-love journey when I noticed that I was relaxing into my truth in multiple areas of life. What that means, and I'm sort of thinking about all these things in my head, like I'm going through this list and almost like I'm going like this because it's like a timeline of things. But what I noticed is, for example, I have taken many decades to embrace the type of friend that I am. I used to feel very almost ashamed and just kind of already stressed, or feeling a lot of like the rejection wound come up, a lot of anxiety. It would cause a lot of, neediness or attachment, and even cause a lot of passive aggressiveness and things that were just like not aligned at all with how I wanted to show up or who I really am. But a lot of that was because I wasn't fully owning who I really am. And I would say the last like 5 years, especially, but probably even earlier than that, it started happening more and more and more. And then the last 2 years specifically, I've gone through a lot of relationship changes. And what it's done is it's gotten me to a place of saying, if you want to be great friends with me, I'm not saying I'm never going to meet you where you are, but I need to be okay with where I am. I need to be okay with the fact that I am the friend that will want to connect with you often. I am the friend that will want to have regular check ins with you. I am the friend that is going to want to know the truth of what's going on with you. I'm not the fair weather, on the surface friend. I am a specific kind of friend. And I say that today with like a big smile on my face, because I've learned to really love that about myself, because I have a few people in my life in particular that love that I am that exact way. They don't want me to be any different. And I had to go through a long journey of a lot of pain, of trying to be someone that I'm not, getting rejected by people, all these different things to get to a place where I am now able to show up. And even when I meet new people and I'm like, oh, she's so cute, like I'd love to be her friend, this is so great, I also go into those kinds of new situations knowing that I am a very specific kind of friend, and I love that about myself, and I'm looking for alignment in that way. And the other areas that I notice that my self-love journey is really connected to integrity and alignment is also in my health. With my health, there are very specific ways that people have told me I should show up, things that I should be doing, ways that I should be going about, my journey. And I have tried those ways. My mom and I, when I was younger, tried so many things. I feel like I'm going to do a whole video just on that, all the things we've tried to fix my situations. And I've ultimately had to get to a place of really understanding what was right for me and aligning and having integrity about that. So that doesn't mean that, a doctor is telling me a certain thing and then I'm like, oh, well, that doesn't align with my truth, so I'm going to not do that. But I've had to sit and say, okay, a doctor is telling me this thing. Like when I was diagnosed with myasthenia, and it was very overwhelming and very scary and a lot of new information and a lot of new medications. I had to take that in, and then I also had to do the work to figure out how I was going to navigate it in my way. I still followed the doctor's orders, I still followed directions, and I still had integrity in showing up for what was needed for my body at the time. But I also had emotional and spiritual integrity where I allowed myself to really be present to what was true for me. So that's another area. And then I would say the final area that I wanted to sort of share with you is with my career. I have shown myself that I love myself through creating a career that, one, nourishes me. And that wasn't always the case, by the way. I've spent many years of my career giving more than I'm allowing myself to receive. I've spent many years of my career knowing that, I wanted certain things and being too scared to go after them. I mean, so many different things. And I've also spent many years of my career just not knowing what I wanted to do. So it's not always just perfectly planned out and looks perfect and, all of that. But I have created a lot of alignment and integrity so that I can show myself how much I care and love for myself by creating a career that really nourishes and supports the true person that I am. Even doing this Truth Talks on Substack or just showing up for Substack at all has really been a journey of self-love. And I'm sharing all of this with you because I want you to go through your own life. And I want you to think about, like we talked about before this a few minutes ago, about where you are in integrity and in alignment in your life and where you still have room to grow. I know for me, one of the growth areas that I have been focusing on a lot is I have spent a lot of time focused on taking care of the illness, right? So taking care of, the diseases that doctors have diagnosed me with, but I hadn't really spent as much time taking care of my wellness. So what is Nitika gonna do to feel vibrant, to feel alive, not connected to the different diseases that I've been diagnosed with? And so that has actually been my focus for 2025. And it's hit or miss. Sometimes I kill it and I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to the gym, I'm going to the steam room, I'm doing so many things. I love my life. It's so great. And then other days, like today, I've got to go to the gym after this and I'm already dreading it. And I'm like, okay, I need to figure out how to show up for myself. And it's still very much like I'm still in the work around this part of my life. But I've seen it transform in these other ways. So this week for our Truth Talks episode, I really wanted to go deeper on what self-love really is. And yes, you can pick up, this, like these essential oils. I've got this amazing essential oil that I love actually from my friends over at Soma Ayurveda. I just felt like I needed to put this on. So you can either go for something tangible, something beautiful, something that, is in your home, something that makes you feel alive and connected to beauty or divinity in some way. And, you can do that. And you also need to, it's actually not either. And you also need to start really looking at how are you living a life of integrity, alignment that leads you to loving yourself on a deeper level. So the last thing I'll say is I kind of started to think about it as the way that I love other people and it being a reflection and a practice or sort of a template, I should say, for how I want to love myself, right? If I was doing this for a friend, if I texted my friend every morning, good morning, hey, hun, love ya, right? That's nice. It's sweet. It's good. It's not bad. But there's a deeper level that they're going to want me to show up if I'm going to really claim that I love this person. There's a way that I want to show up for them in important dates. There's a way that I want to cheer them on in life. There's an investment, an emotional, spiritual, mental investment that I'm going to make in this person's life. And I'm honored for the friends that I get to do that with. So, how are we going to do that for ourselves? And I think, getting to a deeper part of self love is just so, so, so important. And I know that we talk about self love a lot, and I know it's something that, people discuss all the time, but I don't know that people are always looking at it from this really deeply rooted aspect and place. So, I hope that this supports you this week. I hope that you're enjoying these Truth Talks episodes. And I just have been loving showing up. I've also been doing some live episodes here and there. I have been doing my weekly posts, or actually now it's becoming bi-weekly. So I'm sort of doing these truth talks every other week and then a written post every other week. It's what I'm doing for today. I don't know if that's going to be what I continue doing. I'm going to, start doing some paid subscriber things too. So there's going to be lots that we're going to roll out. But for now, this is what we're doing, and I'm really enjoying it. Thank you for all of your messages, anyone who comments on anything, supports it, likes it, just all of it. It really means a lot to me. I'm in the practice of, letting the feedback and the validation from others be what dictates how I show up. I'm just showing up and doing what I feel I need to do. But I'm not going to lie that the feedback and the support and the reassurance that I'm going in the right direction for what is needed for your life really, really feeds my soul too. So thank you so much. I love you so much. And I cannot wait for next time.